Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously gripping story about the ultimate human temptation. I'm talking about the absolute power to rewrite your own reality. We're going to walk through a fascinating sequence of events that shows just how incredibly fast human psychology can completely unravel when the normal consequences of life are suddenly gone. It's a brilliant, somewhat terrifying study of cause, effect, and the extreme boundaries of human hubris. So imagine for a second you could literally just hit undo on life. Let's dive right into this core dilemma, which drives our protagonist's insanely rapid descent. We start with a totally ordinary guy out in the dirt with a shovel, but things quickly spiral into this huge question of morality and restraint. What would you actually do if you held a device that could rewind your mistakes? We're going to track this guy's journey from a confused, innocent discoverer into a reckless thrill seeker who starts, well, basically playing God with his own timeline. Part 1. Discovery of the Dial. Unearthing a mystery. The whole thing kicks off super methodically. Our guy is just digging around when his shovel strikes something solid in the dirt. He pries away the earth and plucks out this strangely heavy, glowing artifact. But as he grabs it, he accidentally slices his finger open on a crack in the device where light is literally just pouring out of it. While he's nursing this bleeding finger, he kind of instinctively figures out how this mysterious gadget works. He realizes the bottom is meant to turn. As he twists it, the center section lifts right out. Then, maybe by accident, he presses it, and miraculously, that deep cut on his finger, completely gone. He tries it again, and it hits him. With every single press, the world around him is actually rewinding. Which brings us to Section 2, the illusion of control. From panic to power. At first, as you'd probably expect, he's totally freaking out because he has absolutely no idea what this thing is. But that panic, it fades fast. His fear quickly morphs into this really intoxicating curiosity, and he decides to take it for a spin. He heads to a bar, spots a girl, and uses the dial for some simple, albeit pretty manipulative, social confidence. He's throwing out these insanely risky pickup lines he's always wanted to try but was too scared of the consequences to actually say. Whenever he gets rejected or things get awkward, he just presses the dial, erases the mistake, and tries again. He basically orchestrates this perfect accidental meeting, talks to her for hours, and boom, gets her number. Just like that, he feels like an absolute king. Next up, Section 3, escaping the consequences, breaking the rules. But here's the thing about feeling like a king, it can very quickly turn into the entitlement of a criminal. He's had a taste of a life with zero social consequences, and he immediately wants more. He realizes he just isn't bound by society's rules anymore. It all flares up over a totally petty, ridiculous dispute over a $9 charge at a store. He refuses to accept it, which leads to this altercation, and he literally just flees the store. Someone yells for him to come back, and he's forced to abuse the dial just to escape the chase. So now he's relying on this incredible artifact not to fix some tragic, life-altering mistake, but just to dodge the consequences of a petty crime. Now, you have to see how incredibly fast his risk-taking escalates here because it's wild. At minute 0, he's just a guy digging in the dirt. By minute 2, he's manipulating interactions at a bar. Minute 3, he's fleeing a store over $9. And by minute 4, he is literally throwing himself into a free fall. In just a tiny fraction of an hour, he devolves from making an innocent discovery to throwing himself into full-blown, life-threatening danger. Moving into Section 4, the adrenaline chase, craving the fall. Surviving that chase out of the store flips a highly, highly dangerous switch in his brain. Normal human responses, like fear and pain, they're completely overridden by this insatiable craving for exhilaration. He realizes he can get the ultimate adrenaline rush without paying the ultimate price. Just think about the stark contrast in this journey. His very first use of the dial was healing a minor, paper-thin cut on his finger, a total act of self-preservation. But his final uses? He is deliberately putting himself in fatal scenarios, initiating a free fall just high enough to make his stomach twist, purely for the rush. A tool that was discovered to heal is now being weaponized to court death, all because he arrogantly believes the dial will always be there to catch him. And that leads us to our final section, Part 5, the fatal climax, the boundaries of hubris. So, he does that first drop, twisting the dial, holding it super firm, and just letting himself fall. It works, and the exhilaration is off the charts. But, as is the nature of unchecked hubris, it just wasn't enough. Chasing a bigger thrill, he patiently waits until everyone leaves for the day, climbs even higher, and initiates his ultimate jump. But right as he drops, the environment suddenly shifts with this overwhelming sensation of heat. Something in the atmosphere, or maybe inside the overworked dial itself, goes fundamentally terribly wrong. That safety net he'd put absolute blind faith into is suddenly compromised right in the middle of his descent.
The thrill seeker's journey violently ends right here, accompanied by an agonizing groan. The brutal, totally unforgiving consequences of gravity and physics finally catch up to him. Whether the dial failed him or he just failed to activate it in time because of the unexpected heat, the illusion of absolute control is shattered in an instant. It's instantly replaced by agonizing physical reality.
And it all ends in these chilling screams. Having the power to easily erase mistakes ultimately led him straight into an unfixable, agonizing error. It's a really brutal reminder that having power without boundaries rapidly destroys our most basic instinct for self-preservation. Because when you truly believe you can just press a button to avoid hitting the ground, you eventually forget how much the ground actually hurts. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. Think about the crazy progression we just walked through together, from fixing a tiny cut on a finger to taking a fatal plunge. It is so easy to judge our protagonist, but the seduction of control is deeply, deeply rooted in all of us. If you had unearthed that heavy, glowing dial, when would you have stopped? Or would the intoxicating trap of ultimate control have claimed you too? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating breakdown with me.